Okay, so let's dive in. Today's deep dive is focused on something I bet we all think about quite a bit: discipline and self-control. I
Uh-huh.
mean, we've all been there, right? Whether it's that phone, just buzzing away while you're trying to focus,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe it's that extra cookie calling your name even when you're like trying to be healthy.
Absolutely. Or the snooze button that's just way too easy to hit in the mornings.
Yes, the snooze button, the ultimate temptation.
Right.
So for this deep dive, we've gone through a whole bunch of discussions and stories and advice, all centered around building discipline and self-control.
Yeah, drawing mostly from the English Leap podcast. I think they have some great insights on this.
They really do. And what we're going to try to do today is sort of pull out the most important points and some of those strategies that you can actually use, to boost your own discipline and self-control.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's about, moving beyond just the definitions. Like, what does it actually mean to be disciplined or to have self-control in those, like, everyday situations?
Right, exactly. So let's start with like the basics. When we say discipline, what are we really talking about?
Well, from what we've seen, discipline is all about doing what needs to be done,
Yeah.
even when, even when you really don't feel like it.
Yeah, it's like that inner push.
Exactly.
Like, think about having to get up early for work.
Yeah.
Your bed is so warm and comfy, and your brain's telling you to just stay put. But then discipline, that's what kicks in and gets you out of bed, right?
Yeah, it's like you're aligning your actions with your goals. Like in
Yeah.
the long run, I have to go to work.
Right. It's about those long-term goals.
Mm.
And then there's self-control. How would you describe that?
Hmm. I think self-control is more about resisting those things um, that you know are not good for you, at least in the long run.
It's like saying no to those immediate temptations.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about those phone distractions.
Oh, yeah, those are a big one.
I mean, you just check one notification and then poof, an hour's gone.
I know, right?
It's like a black hole of time.
It really is.
But it's not just the phone, is it? It's also things like, ooh, I don't know, like that extra slice of pizza when you're trying to eat healthier.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Or maybe you get sucked into a game when you have a ton of work to do.
Yeah, those are all those immediate things that feel good now.
Right, right. But then we end up regretting them later.
Exactly. And a lot of the discussions we went through talked about how even like little acts of self-control, they can really add up over time.
Oh, absolutely. Like they build on each other.
It's like a muscle you're strengthening.
Exactly.
Like when your phone buzzes and you consciously choose not to check it right away.
Oh, that's a hard one.
It is. But each time you do that, you're basically like building up your self-control.
Yeah, like giving yourself a little win.
A mini victory.
Yeah.
I remember when I was trying to like start working out early in the morning. Oh man, that 5:30 a.m. alarm was my worst enemy.
I bet.
But I did this one little thing that really helped. I put my alarm across the room, so I actually had to get out of bed to turn it off.
That's smart.
And you know what? That small effort, like just standing up, that was often enough to break the snooze cycle for me.
Wow, that's a good tip.
And once I was up, it was much easier to get myself to actually work out.
It's like once you break that initial inertia, things start to flow.
Yeah, exactly. So those little wins can really make a big difference. And that actually leads us to the whole idea of habits.
Oh, habits are so important.
Right. And what we learned from these discussions is that when you turn something into a habit, it basically takes less mental energy to do it.
It's like it becomes automatic.
Right. Like think about, I don't know, maybe taking a walk after dinner.
Yeah.
At first, you might have to like remind yourself to do it, but after a while, it just becomes part of your routine.
You don't even think about it. You just do it.
It's like brushing your teeth. You don't have to convince yourself to do it every day.
Yeah, it's just ingrained in you.
And there was this really cool story in the English Leap podcast about this person who wanted to read more.
Oh, yeah. What do they do?
So they started by like keeping a book in their car. And then whenever they had to wait to pick up their kids from school, they'd just read a few pages.
That's a great idea.
Right. And eventually, that tiny habit, it turned into a bigger reading habit.
So starting small really is key, isn't it?
It really is. It's like instead of trying to run a marathon right away, you start with a short walk.
Much more manageable.
So much more manageable. And then you gradually build up.
And that reminds me of another concept that came up a lot. Delayed gratification.
Ah, yes. Delayed gratification.
Basically choosing a bigger reward later instead of a smaller one right now.
It's about having that long-term vision.
Yeah, exactly.
And that can be tough, especially when that instant gratification is right there tempting you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I know, like personally, I've definitely had times when I was saving up for something big, and there were so many times where I had to resist the urge to buy, smaller, less important
It's
things.
about, like, resisting those impulses.
Right, because I knew that if I kept my eye on the bigger goal, that would be so much more rewarding in the end.
Did they talk about the marshmallow test in those podcasts?
They did. They mentioned the famous marshmallow experiment, which is like a classic example of delayed gratification.
Right, right. It's that whole thing about getting one marshmallow now or two if you wait.
And it shows how some kids can resist that immediate temptation because they can see that bigger reward down the line.
And that skill, it applies to so many areas of life.
It really does. It's not just about marshmallows. It's about, like, our health goals.
Exactly.
Like choosing to skip dessert now because you're working towards a fitness goal.
Yeah, you're thinking about those long-term benefits.
Exactly. So thinking about your own life, where could you practice that delayed gratification to get a bigger reward later?
Hmm, good question. It's definitely something to think about. But, all of this, it sounds great in theory, but we all know that staying disciplined, it's not always easy.
Oh, absolutely not. There are always challenges. And one of the big ones that came up a lot was stress.
Oh, yeah, stress can completely derail you.
Right. When you're stressed, you just naturally want to find comfort, even if it's not the healthiest kind of comfort.
Exactly. You just want to feel better in the moment.
And that can lead to, like, overeating or maybe binge watching shows or all sorts of things that don't really help in the long run.
It's like you're looking for that quick fix.
Yeah, that quick escape. I know for me, when things get really busy at work, I tend to crave, like, sugary snacks.
Oh, I feel
It's like
that.
this instant mood booster. But the thing is, it never really solves the stress.
Right. It's just temporary relief.
And it definitely wasn't helping me reach my health goals.
Mm.
So that's when I realized I needed to find healthier ways to cope with stress.
Like what kind of things?
Like I started taking short walks during the day or even just doing some breathing exercises at my desk.
Oh, those are good ideas.
Yeah, they helped me manage that stress without resorting to, like, unhealthy habits.
It's about finding those healthy outlets, right?
Exactly. And the podcasts we looked at, they had a lot of advice on how to actually build discipline.
Like specific strategies.
Yeah. And a common theme was starting small.
There it is again. Starting small.
It's so important. It's like when you go to the gym,
Yeah.
you don't start by lifting the heaviest weights. You gradually work your way up.
You'd hurt yourself.
Right. So say your goal is to wake up earlier. Instead of suddenly changing your wake-up time by an hour, maybe just try setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier for a few days.
Yeah, little steps.
Little by little.
And once you're comfortable with that, you adjust it a bit more.
Exactly. And they also talked about this thing called habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's basically connecting a new habit you want to build to a habit you already have.
Oh, interesting.
Like, let's say you always make a cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah, I do that.
So while your coffee's brewing, that could be your cue to do, like, a few minutes of stretching.
Oh, I see. So you're using that existing habit as a trigger for the new one.
That's exactly it. And it makes it so much easier to stick to the new habit.
That's really clever. I'll have to try that.
I did that with reading. I decided that every day after my morning coffee, I would read for just 10 minutes.
Nice.
And because the coffee routine was already automatic, it was easy to just tack the reading onto it.
And it became a habit without you even realizing it.
Pretty much. So think about your own routines. Are there any habits you could stack to help you build a new one?
I'm sure there are. I'll have to think about that. But, it's interesting because a lot of these discussions also touched on this difference between motivation and willpower.
Oh yeah, those two are definitely related, but they're not the same thing.
Right. Motivation is like that initial spark.
Yeah.
It's what gets you started.
Yeah, it's that excitement you feel when you're, like, starting a new project or setting a new goal.
But the thing about motivation is it can be kind of fleeting.
It comes and goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where willpower comes in.
Willpower is like the engine that keeps you going even when the motivation fades.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
that inner strength to push through when things get tough.
We see this all the time with New Year's resolutions.
Oh, the classic example.
Everyone's so motivated in January, but then by February, that motivation starts to dwindle.
The gym's suddenly a lot emptier.
Exactly. And that's when you need that willpower to keep you going.
But, willpower, it's not limitless.
Right. It's not like this infinite well of energy.
Like a muscle,
I-
it can get tired.
Exactly.
That's why they say it's best to do your hardest tasks earlier in the day,
Oh, that's a good tip.
when your willpower's fresh.
So instead of trying to, like, power through a difficult task at the end of the day when you're already exhausted.
Yeah, it's setting yourself up for failure.
Right. It's better to tackle those things when you have more mental energy.
And another thing they talked about, using rewards to stay on track.
Oh, rewards are a great motivator.
Right, like little things to keep you going.
Even something small, like a piece of dark chocolate after you finish a tough task.
Ooh, I like that reward.
Right. It's a little something to look forward to. And those little things, they can really add up and help you stay motivated.
It's about like celebrating those little wins along the way.
Exactly. So, what are some rewards that you use to keep yourself going?
Hmm, that's a good question. How to think about that. But, all of this talk about motivation and willpower, it really highlights the importance of being aware of yourself.
Oh, self-awareness is so crucial.
Right. Because when you're more mindful of your habits, your thoughts, and your feelings, you're more likely to catch yourself when you're about to, like, slip up.
It's like being able to press pause before you act impulsively.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you're about to mindlessly scroll through your phone.
Oh, yeah, the mindless scrolling.
But if you're aware of what you're doing, you can stop yourself and say, okay, why am I doing this? Do I really need to be on my phone right now?
It's about being intentional with your actions. I know for me, mindfulness really helped me with those stress eating habits we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, when I started paying attention to like my actual feelings and why I was reaching for food, I realized that a lot of times it wasn't even because I was physically hungry.
It was emotional hunger.
Yeah, it was more about trying to soothe those stressful feelings.
Comfort eating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, I could start to make different choices. Like, instead of grabbing a bag of chips, I might take a few deep breaths or go for a quick walk.
So mindfulness helped you break that automatic response.
It really did. And it helped me identify those triggers, like, okay, when I feel this way, I tend to do this.
So you can anticipate it and plan accordingly.
Exactly. It's all about understanding yourself.
Right. It's knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. And knowing what makes it harder for you to stay disciplined. So think about those moments when you catch yourself acting without really thinking. Could mindfulness help you in those situations?
It's definitely a powerful tool. But, even with the best intentions and all the mindfulness in the world, we're all human.
Oh, yeah, we're not perfect.
And that's something they emphasize a lot in the podcasts. The importance of being flexible.
Yes. Flexibility and self-compassion.
Because we all have setbacks. We're going to mess up sometimes.
Like, you might skip a workout or you might give in to that pizza craving.
It happens. We're not robots.
But the important thing is to not see those as, huge failures.
Right. Don't let them derail your entire journey.
Yeah, they're more like little detours.
Exactly. You get back on track and keep moving forward.
It's about progress, not perfection.
And being kind to yourself along the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway is that discipline and self-control, these aren't things you're just born with.
They're skills that you can develop.
You can learn them, you can get better at them. And it's about understanding yourself, starting small, building those habits, finding healthy ways to deal with stress, and, being flexible with yourself along the way.
And remembering that it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. So as we finish up, here's something to think about. What's one small step you can take today to build a little more discipline in a specific area of your life?
It could be anything. Just one small thing to get you started.
And remember, this is just the beginning. There's a whole world of information out there about habit formation, mindfulness, and stress management.
Yeah, there's always more to learn.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.